Have you ever felt like your entire world was crumbling around you? That moment when the opportunity you've been waiting for slips through your fingers, the person you trusted walks away, or the door you prayed would open suddenly slams shut. What if I told you that you're just 7 seconds away from changing everything? Has this ever happened to you? You stand there, staring at the wreckage of what could have been, feeling forgotten by the very universe you believed was listening. Your heart races. Your mind spins with what-ifs, and that sinking feeling in your stomach tells you that maybe this time there's no coming back from the edge. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the globe. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. What you're about to discover might surprise you. Joseph Murphy, one of the greatest spiritual teachers of the 20th century, revealed a secret so powerful yet so simple that most people dismiss it before even trying it. The secret is this: it takes only 7 seconds to completely transform your circumstances. Just 7 seconds to reverse a storm, to shift energy patterns, to rewrite situations that seem completely irreversible. Think about that for a moment. While you've been spending hours worrying, days overthinking, and weeks trying to force outcomes, the real solution has always been just 7 seconds away. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? But stay with me until the end, because once you understand this principle, you'll never approach challenges the same way again. You see, the universe doesn't respond to lengthy explanations. It doesn't move because of panic, begging, or desperate prayers whispered into your pillow at night. The universe, this vast, intelligent force that creates galaxies and holds atoms together, responds to something much simpler: authority. It's the same way you order a coffee and expect it to arrive. The same way you press a switch and expect light to flood the room. You don't plead with electricity. You command it. And that's exactly the energy Joseph Murphy taught us to live by, the power of spoken command. Your words aren't just sounds floating into the air. They're spiritual decrees, divine codes that instruct invisible forces to rearrange reality itself. The problem is that most of us don't know how to speak this language. We command from fear, not faith. We speak uncertainty disguised as prayer. We ask for light while describing darkness in vivid detail and then wonder why nothing changes. The truth is startlingly simple. Your world obeys your tone. Not your tears, not your effort, not even your logic, your tone. If your tone carries fear, the universe echoes fear back to you. But if your tone carries faith, the universe echoes miracles. This is what Joseph Murphy meant when he said, "Your word is your wand." Because it cuts through confusion, it slices through doubt, it moves the unseen into the seen. If you resonated with this message about the power of your words, hit subscribe now to join our community of divine commanders transforming their reality. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and reveal what most spiritual teachers never fully explain. The universe responds to authority in the same way nature responds to its own laws. When you drop something, it falls, not because gravity is considering your request, but because it's obeying an unbreakable principle. This same dynamic governs every aspect of your life experience, creating a hidden truth that few ever discover. Your transformation begins the moment you understand that you're not a beggar in this universe. You're a commander. This isn't about ego or control. It's about alignment with your true nature. Joseph Murphy spent decades studying the ancient wisdom traditions across cultures and discovered that they all pointed to the same revelation. Our words function as spiritual decrees. Think about that phrase, spiritual decrees. Not wishes, not hopes, not maybes, decrees. In the original spiritual texts, the creative force didn't hope for light to appear. It declared, "Let there be light." This wasn't a suggestion or a polite request. It was a command issued from a place of absolute certainty. And from that certainty, galaxies were born. Your words carry this same creative potential. They are not merely sounds that dissipate into the air. They are energetic blueprints, divine codes that instruct invisible forces to rearrange the very fabric of your reality. The mindset shift here is profound. When you speak, you're not describing your world, you're creating it. But here's where the journey becomes challenging for most people. They don't know how to speak this spiritual language effectively. They command from fear instead of faith. They speak uncertainty disguised as prayer. They say things like, "I hope this works out," or "maybe things will get better," or "I'm trying to stay positive." These aren't commands, they're hesitations. They carry the vibration of doubt, and the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, reflects that doubt right back. The impact of this misalignment is everywhere in your life. That promotion that keeps eluding you, the relationship that never quite manifests, the financial breakthrough that's always just around the corner but never arrives. These aren't random occurrences or bad luck. They're precise reflections of your verbal commands. Behind the scenes of your conscious awareness, every word you speak is setting spiritual law into motion. When you say, "This is hard," you're not describing your reality. You're decreeing hardship into existence. When you say, "I never have enough," you're not reporting on your finances. You're commanding scarcity to continue. The decision to change your words is the decision to change your life. It's that simple and that profound. Not because positive thinking is nice, but because the universe itself is structured to respond to the authority of your speech. What area of your life needs a new decree right now? Write in the comments. I'm claiming my authority if you're ready to transform your words into power. And this is where most people miss the profound simplicity of spiritual law. Your world doesn't obey your wishes, your plans, or even your most desperate prayers. It obeys your tone. This revelation transformed my own journey when I first encountered it in Joseph Murphy's work. It wasn't about what words I was using, it was about the vibrational signature behind those words. Think of it like this. When a parent speaks to a child in a tone of absolute certainty, the child instinctively responds. Not because of what was said, but because of how it was said. The universe works in exactly the same way. It's constantly reading your energetic tone, not just your verbal content. A tone of fear, even disguised in positive words, generates fear in return. A tone of faith, even expressed in the simplest phrases, produces what many would call miracles. This mindset shift is where true transformation begins. It's not about learning new affirmations or spiritual techniques. It's about aligning your inner state with your outer expression. Murphy understood this when he wrote, "Your word is your wand." He wasn't speaking metaphorically. He was describing an actual spiritual technology that cuts through confusion, slices through doubt, and moves the unseen into manifestation. But like any technology, it requires precise application to work effectively. So what is this application? What is the hidden truth that mystics and spiritual masters have known for centuries? It's a 7-second command so simple that most people overlook it entirely. The ancient secret is hiding in plain sight, waiting for those ready to claim their spiritual authority. Imagine this scenario. Chaos surrounds you. Bills are piling up on your kitchen table. A relationship that matters deeply is breaking apart. Your health shows concerning signs. Your mind is racing with worst-case scenarios. Every instinct in your body is screaming for you to panic, to worry, to frantically search for solutions. But in that exact moment, you do something completely unexpected, something that breaks the pattern entirely. You stand still, you take a deep breath, and with Unwavering conviction, the kind that doesn't need to shout because it knows it will be heard. You say, "Peace, be still." 3 words, 7 seconds, infinite power. This isn't a religious incantation or a magic spell. It's a command issued from the center of your being to the universe itself. It's you reclaiming the authority that has always been yours. It's the impact of aligned speech echoing through the chambers of creation. When you issue this command, you're not asking the storm to stop. You're not hoping things will get better. You're not trying to convince yourself that everything will be okay. You're speaking directly to the invisible forces that govern reality, and you're doing it from a place of absolute certainty. The science of this approach extends beyond mere positive thinking. It's about neurological rewiring, energy alignment, and activating what quantum physicists now recognize as the observer effect, where consciousness itself influences outcomes at the subatomic level. If you've ever spoken words of power and felt the atmosphere shift around you, type "I've felt the shift" in the comments below. This 7-second command isn't something I invented or that Joseph Murphy created. Its origins trace back to one of the most profound demonstrations of spiritual authority ever recorded. In the biblical account, Jesus and his disciples were crossing the Sea of Galilee when a violent storm arose. The waves crashed over the boat's sides. The disciples, many of them experienced fishermen, panicked, certain they would drown as their vessel began to fill with water. But what's fascinating isn't the storm itself, it's the response to it. While chaos swirled and fear gripped everyone else, Jesus stood calmly and uttered those 3 simple words, "Peace, be still." No elaborate prayers, no complex rituals, no negotiating with the elements, just a direct command spoken with absolute certainty. And immediately, the text tells us, the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. This watershed moment reveals something profound about the mechanics of spiritual authority. The storm wasn't random. It was an opportunity for revelation. It showed that the universe recognizes and responds to authority spoken from alignment, not from desperation, not from fear, not even from hope. From alignment, that state of inner knowing that transcends circumstantial evidence. Subscribe now and become part of this journey of spiritual mastery. Each video brings another powerful revelation to accelerate your transformation. But here's the pivotal insight that transformed my entire approach to challenges. Jesus wasn't speaking to the storm, he was speaking through it. This distinction revolutionizes our understanding of spiritual decree. Most people face their problems directly, trying to force them into submission through willpower or manipulation. They speak to their financial struggles, their health issues, their relationship conflicts. They try to convince their problems to go away. This approach almost always fails because it acknowledges the problem as having power. It positions you in opposition to your circumstances rather than in authority over them. Behind the scenes of this cosmic drama is a fundamental truth. Speaking to your problems empowers them. Speaking through them diminishes them. Joseph Murphy captured this principle beautifully when he wrote, "Never try to force a situation. Speak the word, and then do not resist." This non-resistance is the secret ingredient in the recipe for manifestation. When you try to force outcomes, you create tension in the energetic field. You signal to the universe that you don't actually believe in the power of your command, so you need to help it along with effort and strain. But when you simply speak the word and then release it, when you issue your 7-second command and then rest in the certainty of its fulfillment, you create space for divine orchestration. You allow the invisible mechanics of creation to rearrange circumstances without your interference. Think about the profound wisdom in this approach. The storm on Galilee wasn't calmed by explanation or negotiation. It was calmed by authority. The disciples' panic wasn't addressed with logic or reason. It was answered with demonstration. The journey toward mastery isn't about acquiring more spiritual techniques. It's about embodying more spiritual certainty. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful people seldom raise their voice? There's a reason for that. True power doesn't need volume, it needs alignment. If you're beginning to see how this principle applies to your own life challenges, write "speaking through, not to" in the comments. Now, let me show you how to apply this principle in real-world situations. When facing a crisis in your finances, health, or emotions, your first instinct is to speak from panic. It's almost automatic. When you see the bills piling up, you say, "I'm broke." When facing a challenging diagnosis, you say, "This is too hard." When emotions overwhelm you, you say, "I can't handle this anymore." But those statements aren't just descriptions. They're commands issued to the universe. They're blueprints that creation is bound to follow. The transformation begins when you interrupt that automatic pattern and make a conscious decision to speak differently. Not from where you are, but from where you intend to be. Instead of saying, "I'm broke," pause, center yourself, and command, "Divine abundance flows to me now." Instead of saying, "This is too hard," declare, "Peace, be still. Divine strength sustains me." Instead of saying, "I can't handle this," state with calm authority, "Divine order is now established in my mind and affairs." The brilliance of this approach isn't just psychological, it's vibrational. Each command carries a specific frequency that tells creation how to reorganize itself. This is the hidden mechanism behind manifestation that few truly understand. The universe doesn't actually hear your words, it perceives your frequency. Your words are simply the vehicles that carry your vibrational signature. Think of it like this. When you speak, you're not just making sounds with your vocal cords. You're broadcasting electromagnetic signals that interact with the quantum field around you. Modern physics has confirmed what ancient wisdom traditions taught for millennia, that everything, at its most fundamental level, is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your consciousness itself is a broadcasting station. Your thoughts and emotions create specific frequencies, and your words amplify and direct those frequencies into the world. When your inner state aligns with your spoken command, you create a coherent signal that the universe can't help but respond to. That's why authenticity matters more than technique in spiritual practice. The secret ingredient in the 7-second command is certainty. When your frequency carries certainty, that unshakable, knowing that transcends circumstantial evidence, even chaos must bow to it. This isn't magical thinking, it's spiritual technology operating according to precise universal laws. Joseph Murphy understood this principle deeply. He taught that when you speak with certainty, you're not predicting the future, you're creating it. You're not describing what might be, you're decreeing what must be. This mindset revolution changes everything about how you navigate challenges. Behind the scenes of every miracle is simply someone who understood this principle and applied it consistently. The healings, the financial breakthroughs, the relationship restorations that seem impossible, they all follow the same pattern. Someone spoke from alignment rather than circumstance. Someone issued commands that carried the frequency of certainty rather than the frequency of fear. The journey to mastery involves learning to monitor and adjust your own frequency before speaking. If you can feel the power of this revelation beginning to reshape your understanding, type "frequency matters" in the comments. One of the most common objections I hear when teaching this principle is, "But that's too simple. It can't possibly work." People expect spiritual transformation to be complicated, to require elaborate rituals, years of study, or complex practices. But this expectation actually reveals a fundamental misunderstanding about how divine power operates. The universe functions according to what I call the law of divine brevity. This revelation completely shifted my perception of spiritual authority. Don't mistake simplicity for weakness. In fact, the most powerful forces in existence operate with elegant simplicity. Creation itself, according to ancient wisdom, began with the brief command, "Let there be light." 4 words that ignited galaxies, 4 words that set in motion the entire cosmic dance we now observe. Power doesn't require lengthy explanations or elaborate techniques. It requires certainty. A single word spoken with absolute conviction carries more creative force than 1,000 words spoken with doubt. This principle operates throughout nature. The most fundamental laws of physics can be expressed in simple equations. E.mc2. 3 characters that describe the relationship between energy and matter. Simplicity isn't the absence of power, it's the refinement of it. Joseph Murphy captured this beautifully when he wrote, "I do not limit God by seeing limitation in myself." This profound statement reveals the real barrier to manifestation, not a lack of technique, but a presence of limitation in consciousness. When you believe complexity is necessary, you're actually creating resistance to the natural flow of manifestation. You're introducing friction into a system designed to operate with seamless elegance. This insight opens the door to a deeper understanding of spiritual mechanics. Resistance delays command, and doubt interrupts divine flow. Every time you question whether your 7-second command is enough, you're creating turbulence in the energy field. You're sending mixed signals to the universe, saying one thing with your words but another with your doubt. The blueprint of transformation becomes clear when you understand that speaking from fear divides energy, while speaking from faith unites it. Divided energy scatters in multiple directions, creating conflict and confusion in your manifestations. United energy flows in a single, powerful stream, creating coherence and momentum. When energy unites through aligned command, miracles accelerate naturally and powerfully. This isn't supernatural, it's supernormal. It's what happens when you remove the artificial barriers between your intention and its manifestation. The revelation that changed everything in my own journey was recognizing that the universe isn't withholding anything from me. It's simply waiting for clear, aligned signals. This principle works regardless of your background, education, or circumstances. It doesn't require special talents or spiritual gifts. It only requires the willingness to align your inner state with your outer declaration. To speak as if what you desire is already accomplished. To command from the perspective of the future you're creating, not the present you're experiencing. The decision to embrace this mindset opens doorways that most people never even notice. It transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for demonstration. If you're beginning to see how your own resistance might be delaying your manifestations, write "removing my resistance" in the comments. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and explore what happens after you issue your 7-second command. This is where most spiritual seekers stumble, and it's the hidden truth that separates those who merely practice spiritual principles from those who embody them. When an archer releases an arrow, what do they do next? They don't chase after it. They don't grab it mid-flight to check if it's heading in the right direction. They trust the laws of physics and their own skill. The same principle applies to your spiritual commands. After giving a command, you must release it completely, like an arrow, and resist the urge to chase it. This is where the real inner work begins. The catalyst for transformation isn't just in speaking powerful words, it's in what you do after you speak them. Most people sabotage their manifestations through what I call energetic contradiction. They command healing, then immediately research more symptoms. They command financial abundance, then scroll through their accounts with worry. They command peace in a relationship, then rehearse past conflicts in their mind. Each of these actions sends a contradictory message to the universe. It's like planting a seed and then digging it up every few hours to check if it's growing. The very act of checking disturbs the natural process of manifestation. The journey to mastery involves learning a new response. Speak it, let it go, and rest. This resting isn't passive resignation. It's active faith. It's a powerful decision to align with the outcome rather than obsessing over the process. It's a profound recognition that your role in manifestation is declaration, not manipulation. Your job is to set the destination, not to row the boat. The universe handles the how when you're clear about the what. The revelation that transformed my understanding of spiritual law is that certainty itself is evidence. In the conventional world, we believe evidence creates certainty. We think we need to see results before we can believe in them. But in divine law, this relationship is reversed. Certainty creates evidence. Your unwavering knowing actually draws the manifestation toward you through resonance. True belief eliminates the need for begging and analysis, replacing them with a calm, steady knowing. When you genuinely believe something, you don't need to convince yourself or others. You don't need constant reassurance. You simply know, and that knowing radiates from you as a tangible frequency that the universe responds to. When you say, "Peace, be still," say it once with complete conviction. Don't repeat it anxiously, hoping it will work. Say it from that centered place of authority within you. Feel your spirit align with the words as you speak them. Notice your shoulders dropping, your breathing slowing, your entire being settling into the certainty of your command. This embodied approach to spiritual decree activates what quantum physicists call the observer effect, where consciousness itself influences the behavior of energy at the subatomic level. Your certainty doesn't just feel different, it actually creates different possibilities in the field of potential surrounding you. If you've ever experienced that moment of absolute knowing, where doubt simply vanished and certainty took its place, type "I know the feeling" in the comments. What happens when you master this alignment between your inner state and your spoken command? This is where the visible evidence begins to appear in your external reality. When your words vibrate at creation's frequency, the world around you has no choice but to reorganize itself accordingly. It's not supernatural, it's natural law operating precisely as designed. You might notice it first as subtle shifts in atmosphere. A heaviness that had been lingering suddenly lifts. A tension in relationships begins to dissolve without explanation. Then come the tangible manifestations. Unexpected good news arrives from sources you weren't even considering. Money appears through channels you hadn't anticipated. Opportunities present themselves that weren't visible before. The revelation here is that these shifts happen not because you forced them through willpower or manipulation, but because you commanded them through aligned decree. The distinction is critical to understand. Force creates resistance. Command creates resonance. Force drains energy. Command channels it. Force operates from separation. Command operates from oneness. I remember working with a client who had been struggling financially for years. She had tried everything: budgeting systems, multiple jobs, investment strategies, all through effort and force. When I taught her the 7-second command, she was skeptical but willing to try. She began saying, "Divine abundance flows to me now," with genuine conviction, rather than desperate hope. Within 3 weeks, 3 unexpected sources of income appeared in her life. A tax refund she didn't know was coming. A client from years ago who suddenly needed her services. A scholarship opportunity she hadn't been looking for. The transformation wasn't in her circumstances, it was in her relationship to creation itself. She had shifted from begging to commanding, from forcing to allowing. This brings us to a profound insight about the 7-second command. Its power isn't in magic words, but in vibrational tuning. Think of it like tuning a musical instrument. An out-of-tune violin can play the correct notes, but still produce a jarring sound. Similarly, you can say the right words, but still create dissonance if your inner state isn't aligned with them. The journey of mastery involves tuning your inner vibration so your words naturally carry the weight of truth. This alignment creates coherence between your consciousness and your expression. It eliminates the static that often interferes with manifestation. When you speak from this tuned state, your words become vessels for creative power rather than empty phrases. Joseph Murphy understood this when he taught that truth, once spoken, cannot return void. It must manifest in reality. This isn't wishful thinking, it's spiritual physics. Just as physical laws operate without fail in the material world, spiritual laws operate with perfect precision in the realm of consciousness and manifestation. Your declaration becomes a blueprint that the universe must fulfill, not because it's forced to, but because it's designed to. The creative intelligence behind all things recognizes truth when it's spoken with alignment, and it responds by rearranging circumstances, relationships, and resources to match that truth. If you're beginning to sense the profound simplicity of this approach to transformation, type "alignment is everything" in the comments. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and explore what might be the most overlooked aspect of the 7-second command, what happens in the silence that follows. This is the spiritual territory where few are willing to venture, yet it's where the real transformation takes place. When facing seemingly irreversible situations, the diagnosis that terrifies you, the financial crisis that threatens everything you've built, the relationship breakdown that seems beyond repair, there's a sacred sequence that initiates spiritual law. First, you center yourself, finding that still point within that transcends circumstance. Then you inhale deeply, drawing in divine life force, and finally, you speak with quiet authority. Peace, be still. But what comes next is equally important. You let those words echo in the atmosphere around you. You don't rush to fill the space with more words or immediate action. You allow silence to follow your declaration. This silence isn't empty or passive. It's pregnant with creative potential. It's the quantum field, reorganizing itself in response to your command. Most people miss this crucial step in their spiritual practice. They speak their affirmations or prayers and then immediately shift to something else, never allowing the silence that follows to do its transformative work. It's like planting a seed and then immediately flooding it with water, wondering why it doesn't grow. Every seed needs space. Every declaration needs silence. There's a profound wisdom in the ancient saying that silence is the soil in which miracles grow. In that silence, you're demonstrating your trust in the process. You're showing the universe that you don't need to control every aspect of manifestation. You've issued your command, and now you're allowing divine intelligence to implement it in ways far beyond what your limited perspective could orchestrate. This revelation connects directly to what Joseph Murphy taught about spiritual mechanics. He explained that speaking the word sets spiritual law in motion, creating a blueprint that must be fulfilled. Though results may not appear immediately in your visible world, the law never fails in its operation. It's working behind the scenes, in dimensions beyond your current perception. The 7-second command initiates an invisible rearrangement of energy, circumstances, and possibilities. Think of it as cosmic gears turning, doors aligning, and delays dissolving until your physical reality catches up with your spiritual declaration. This process operates with mathematical precision, following universal principles that transcend your temporary feelings or fluctuating faith. I've witnessed this countless times in my own journey and in the lives of those I've worked with. Someone issues a command for healing, and though the symptoms persist for a time, subtle shifts begin occurring at cellular levels. Someone declares financial abundance, and while their bank account shows the same balance initially, unexpected opportunities begin aligning just beyond their visible horizon. The journey from declaration to manifestation isn't about time, it's about alignment. Some manifestations appear instantly because there's no resistance in consciousness. Others emerge gradually as resistance dissolves. The law itself never varies, only our relationship to it does. If you've experienced that magical moment when something you declared suddenly appeared in your reality, type "the law works" in the comments. There's an extraordinary revelation that changed my entire perspective on spiritual authority. The divine power we're discussing isn't some ancient force that expired centuries ago. It's not locked in historical texts or confined to special individuals from the past. The same command that historically shifted seas, healed bodies, and multiplied bread remains fully active in this moment, waiting for your voice to activate it. This understanding completely transforms your relationship with spiritual practice. You're not attempting to resurrect something ancient. You're tapping into something timeless. Divine power never expired. It only awaited your activation through spoken command. This isn't poetic metaphor. It's spiritual technology that operates with consistent precision across all eras and cultures. Think about what this means for your current challenges. The same creative force that orchestrated cosmic events is available to reorganize your finances, heal your body, or restore your relationships. It hasn't diminished in power or availability. It's simply waiting for someone, you, to speak with the authority it recognizes. Throughout history, ordinary people discovered this principle and demonstrated extraordinary results. They weren't special in their humanity. They were special in their understanding. They recognized that divine power responds to human voice when that voice carries the frequency of certainty. They stepped into their spiritual authority not through worthiness, but through alignment. This revelation leads us to another critical aspect of the 7-second command, the quality of your waiting. After speaking, "Peace, be still," how you wait determines how quickly manifestation occurs. Most people wait from anxiety, constantly checking for evidence, wondering if their command worked. This anxious waiting actually introduces resistance into the manifestation process. True masters wait from a posture of trust, not anxiety. They understand that true faith doesn't chase evidence, it creates it. The difference is subtle but profound. Waiting from anxiety says, "I'll believe it when I see it." Waiting from trust says, "I'll see it because I believe it." This reversal of the conventional approach to reality is the mindset shift that accelerates transformation. Your job after issuing the command isn't to monitor the waves, but to stay centered while they calm themselves. This centered waiting isn't passive, it's powerfully receptive. It creates space for divine intelligence to operate in ways your limited perspective couldn't orchestrate. It allows for synchronicities and coincidences that bring your manifestation through unexpected channels. I've observed a fascinating pattern in those who master this principle. They develop what I call manifestation stamina, the ability to remain aligned with their declaration regardless of temporary appearances. They don't ride the emotional roller coaster of external evidence. They anchor themselves in the certainty of spiritual law while physical reality catches up to their command. This journey toward mastery involves developing a new relationship with time itself. When you truly understand how spiritual law operates, you recognize that manifestation isn't bound by conventional timelines. The universe operates according to alignment, not calendars. Your revelation comes not when enough time has passed, but when enough resistance has dissolved. If you've noticed how your waiting often sabotages your manifestations, type "waiting with trust now" in the comments. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and reveal another dimension of the 7-second command that few spiritual teachers discuss: the role of gratitude in the manifestation process. Joseph Murphy wrote something profound that changed my entire approach to spiritual practice. He said that speaking the word and giving thanks for its completion creates the invisible first, which soon manifests visibly. This insight reveals the alchemical nature of gratitude. It's not just a pleasant emotion or a polite response to receiving. Gratitude serves as the spiritual seal on your command, your energetic signature, confirming a divine decree as complete. When you give thanks before physical evidence appears, you're demonstrating mastery over the conventional relationship between cause and effect. Think of it as signing a document that makes a legal arrangement official. Without your signature, the document remains in process. With your signature, it becomes binding. Gratitude functions in much the same way in the spiritual realm. It says to the universe, "I recognize this as complete in the invisible realm, and I acknowledge its inevitable manifestation in the visible." This perspective completely transforms your relationship with time. Most people believe manifestation follows a linear sequence. First, you ask, then you wait, then it appears, and finally, you give thanks. But masters of this principle reverse that order. You ask, you give. Thanks immediately as if it's already done, and then you watch it appear. This reversal isn't just semantic, it's energetically revolutionary. Gratitude before manifestation demonstrates your understanding that creation always happens first in consciousness before it appears in circumstance. You're acknowledging the metaphysical truth that what you've declared already exists in the realm of potential and is simply moving into form through your aligned command. When you embody this principle, consistently something remarkable begins to happen. You undergo a complete transformation in how you move through the world. Your tone changes, no longer pleading or hoping, but declaring with quiet certainty. Your walk changes, no longer heavy with worry, but light with knowing. Your entire being shifts from reaction to creation. You become what Joseph Murphy called a divine commander, someone who understands their relationship with universal forces and uses that understanding to direct conditions rather than being victimized by them. This isn't about controlling others or manipulating outcomes. It's about aligning with divine order and allowing that order to express through your consciousness and into your circumstances. The journey of transformation isn't just about getting things, it's about becoming someone who naturally attracts those things through resonance. Most people focus exclusively on changing conditions without changing consciousness. But divine commanders understand that consciousness always precedes conditions. They work on their inner alignment first, knowing that external reorganization must follow. This shift in identity is perhaps the most profound aspect of mastering the 7-second command. You stop seeing yourself as a helpless figure tossed about by circumstances beyond your control. You recognize yourself as a spiritual authority whose aligned word activates universal forces. This recognition doesn't come from ego. It comes from understanding your true nature and relationship with divine intelligence. If you're beginning to feel this shift in identity taking place within you, type "becoming the commander" in the comments. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and explore how to apply the 7-second command in your everyday life. While we often think of spiritual principles as tools for major crises, the real mastery comes through consistent daily practice in response to life's smaller storms. Think about what you face each day. Negative thoughts that cloud your morning, unexpected delays that threaten your schedule, bills that appear in your mailbox, worrying words from a colleague or loved one. Each of these moments represents an opportunity to practice command rather than reaction. They're not obstacles to your spiritual journey, they're the journey itself. When anxiety whispers doubt about an upcoming presentation, don't engage with the fear narrative. Instead, center yourself and calmly say, peace. Be still. When your mind races with 1,000 uncompleted tasks, pause and declare, divine order governs my mind. When an unexpected expense appears, state with quiet authority, my supply is constant, unending, and comes from an infinite source. These daily applications build what I call spiritual muscle memory. The ability to respond from alignment rather than reaction becomes increasingly natural. Just as a pianist doesn't have to consciously think about where each finger goes after years of practice, you'll find yourself naturally issuing commands in response to life's challenges rather than being overwhelmed by them. The transformation happens through consistency, not intensity. It's better to issue small, aligned commands throughout your day than to attempt dramatic spiritual work only during crises. This daily practice reshapes your entire relationship with reality, training your consciousness to operate from command rather than complaint. Here's where many spiritual seekers misunderstand what Joseph Murphy was teaching. The statements I'm sharing aren't mere affirmations, they're commands. And the difference is crucial. Affirmations try to convince you of something you don't believe. They're often spoken with a hint of pleading, a subtle energy of trying to talk yourself into something. I am wealthy. Spoken while staring at an empty bank account often carries the energy of wishful thinking. Commands, by contrast, declare what already exists in spiritual reality and call it into physical manifestation. They don't try to convince, they direct. They don't plead, they instruct. The energy behind them isn't hope, but certainty. This energetic distinction makes all the difference in their effectiveness. Joseph Murphy didn't teach his students to beg life for mercy or to repeat positive phrases, hoping to feel better. He taught them to speak life into obedience through the authority of aligned command. He understood that the universe responds not to volume or repetition, but to the vibrational quality of certainty. If you're beginning to recognize how much of your daily language has been unintentional command in the wrong direction, type "changing my commands" in the comments. Let's look more closely at the pattern of miraculous commands throughout spiritual history. When we examine the accounts of Jesus performing miracles, we discover something fascinating about his approach. He never engaged in lengthy rituals or complex ceremonies. He simply issued brief, clear commands. Rise, take up your bed and walk to the paralyzed man. Lazarus, come forth to the dead. Peace, be still to the raging storm. Every one of these commands took less than 7 seconds to speak, yet each shifted entire realities, transforming illness into health, death into life, chaos into order. The power wasn't in the duration or volume of his words, it was in the authority behind them. This reveals a profound spiritual blueprint that most seekers miss. Entirely, authority doesn't shout, it speaks with calm certainty. This insight completely revolutionized my understanding of spiritual power. I used to believe that more emotion meant more power, that if I prayed with enough intensity or repeated affirmations with enough passion, the universe would finally respond. But watching people demonstrate true spiritual mastery showed me something completely different. Their power manifested as quiet certainty, an unshakable knowing that required no drama. No performance, no convincing of self or others. Most people fundamentally misunderstand power. They equate it with loudness, force, or emotional intensity. They believe that spiritual breakthrough requires spiritual volume. But authentic power operates with remarkable quietness. It doesn't need to announce itself or convince anyone of its presence. It simply is. Think about the most powerful forces in nature. Gravity doesn't make a sound, yet it holds galaxies together. Electricity flows silently through wires, yet powers entire cities. The DNA in your cells replicates without fanfare, yet it orchestrates the most complex biological processes imaginable. True power doesn't shout, it simply operates according to its nature. When you're genuinely aligned with divine law, you don't need to raise your voice or intensify your emotions to command circumstances. You simply align your consciousness with the outcome, speak from that alignment, and watch as the universe rearranges itself to fulfill your command. The revelation here is that power isn't generated through effort, it's accessed through alignment. I remember working with a spiritual teacher who demonstrated this principle with remarkable consistency. When faced with seemingly impossible situations, terminal illness, financial devastation, relationship breakdown, she would close her eyes for a moment, center herself completely, and then speak a simple command in a voice barely above a whisper. The results that followed seemed miraculous to observers, but to her they were simply the natural consequence of aligned speech. This approach to spiritual decree represents a complete paradigm shift in how most people relate to challenges. Instead of meeting problems with matching intensity, shouting at chaos, fighting against resistance, pushing against obstacles, you meet them with calm, centered certainty. You don't fight fire with fire, you transform fire with the still, small voice of spiritual authority. If you've noticed how the most powerful people in your life often speak the quietest, type "power speaks softly" in the comments. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and explore what Joseph Murphy meant when he taught that, by your words, your world is built or destroyed. This isn't poetic metaphor, it's a precise description of how consciousness shapes reality. Every word you speak becomes a construction site in your life experience, with sentences serving as scaffolds and your tone as the architect designing what ultimately manifests. Most people use their words carelessly, not recognizing the creative power they contain. They describe problems in vivid detail, narrate worst-case scenarios, and speak limitations into existence, then wonder why those very things keep appearing in their experience. The revelation that transformed my journey was recognizing that words aren't just descriptions of what is. They're blueprints for what will be. Think about the language you use throughout your day. This is impossible. I can't afford that. My health never improves. Traffic is always terrible. Each of these statements isn't just commenting on your reality, it's creating it. Each word lays a foundation upon which your future experiences will be built. The architecture of your life reflects the architecture of your speech. Just as an architect wouldn't randomly place structural elements without consideration for the overall design, you shouldn't randomly release words without awareness of what they're constructing. Your casual comments about how hard life is, how people always let you down, or how you never have enough aren't innocent observations. They're powerful instructions to the creative intelligence that surrounds you. This revelation leads to a practical application that can completely transform your daily experience. Before checking your phone or remembering yesterday's stress each morning, take 7 seconds to command your day. This small decision point, what I call the quantum moment of your morning, sets the vibrational template for everything that follows. As soon as you wake up, before your feet touch the floor, pause and declare with quiet certainty, "Today unfolds in divine perfection. Every step I take is guided and blessed. My supply flows freely and endlessly." Feel these words resonating through your being. Notice how your body responds to them, how your shoulders relax, how your breathing deepens, how a subtle sense of peace begins to permeate your consciousness. This isn't wishful thinking or psychological self-talk. It's you as a divine commander, establishing the energetic parameters for your day's unfoldment. You're setting the frequency that circumstances will match through resonance. You're declaring the path before walking it. The decision to begin your day with command rather than reaction creates a profound shift in your overall life experience. Most people wake up and immediately react to whatever appears on their phone. Emails demanding attention, news reporting problems, social media triggering comparison. They surrender their creative authority in the first moments of consciousness and then wonder why they feel powerless throughout the day. The morning command practice reclaims your authority at the most potent moment, when your consciousness is transitioning from sleep state to waking reality. In that threshold space, your words carry exceptional creative power because your analytical mind hasn't yet erected its usual barriers of doubt and limitation. If you've experienced how your morning mindset shapes your entire day, type "first thoughts set the tone" in the comments. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and explore the energetic quality behind effective commands. Joseph Murphy described life as a game of boomerangs, where your thoughts, deeds, and words return to you with astonishing accuracy. This isn't some mystical punishment or reward system. It's a precise description of how vibrational resonance functions in consciousness. Everything you send out into the field of creation through your energy signature returns to you in corresponding experiences. This revelation completely transforms how you approach the 7-second command. It's not just about saying certain words, it's about the energetic quality behind those words. Your command must originate from love, never fear. It must emerge from faith, never anger. The emotional frequency carrying your words determines what echoes back to you from the universe. Consider what happens when you issue a command from anger. This situation must change now. Though the words themselves might seem powerful, the anger vibration creates resistance in the very field you're attempting to influence. It's like throwing a boomerang with a jagged, unstable edge. It won't fly true, and its return will be unpredictable or even harmful. Commands from fear produce similar results. They echo back more experiences that match the fear. Frequency. But commands issued from faith mirror divine order. Commands spoken from love create harmonic resonance that allows manifestation to flow without resistance. This understanding reveals why identical words spoken by different people produce dramatically different results. It's never just the words, it's the vibrational signature behind them. To develop mastery with the 7-second command, I want to share a powerful evening practice that works with your subconscious mind when it's most receptive. Before bed, when the analytical mind begins to quiet and the gateway to the subconscious opens wider, sit quietly and breathe slowly. Allow your breathing to establish a gentle rhythm that calms your nervous system and centers your awareness. Then, recall one situation that's been causing worry or concern. Don't analyze it or rehearse all the details. Simply visualize it as if it were floating in front of you, contained in a translucent sphere. With calm authority, softly say, "Peace. Be still." Feel those words penetrating the visualization, transforming its energy from turbulence to harmony. Then smile, knowing it's already resolved in the realm of causes, and sleep peacefully with that certainty. What makes this evening practice so potent is its timing. Your subconscious mind continues working with your command throughout your sleep state, when resistance is naturally lower and receptivity is higher. Many people discover that within 48 hours of this practice, tangible shifts begin appearing in the situation they addressed. Unexpected solutions emerge, people's attitudes change, resources appear, or their own perception transforms completely. This practice leverages the decision point between wakefulness and sleep, what neuroscience identifies as the theta brainwave state, where transformation occurs more readily because the critical faculty of the conscious mind temporarily relaxes its guard. It's the same principle behind why hypnotherapy can be so effective. It works directly with the subconscious blueprint that manifests as your external reality. If you've tried commanding situations during the day with limited results, type "I'm trying the evening practice" in the comments. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and explore what might be the most transformative aspect of the 7-second command, the frequency of peace itself. Many spiritual seekers chase after power, abundance, or manifestation without recognizing that peace represents the most powerful creative frequency in existence. It's not just a pleasant emotional state, it's the vibrational signature that allows all other good to flow into your experience. When peace enters a chaotic situation, something remarkable happens. Confusion loses its grip. The mind stops racing in multiple directions and clarity emerges naturally. This isn't just psychological, it's energetic. The frequency of peace literally reorganizes the quantum field, allowing solutions to appear that weren't visible in the chaos of anxiety or fear. When peace fills your mind, ideas begin to flow effortlessly. Think about those moments of inspiration that come not when you're frantically trying to solve a problem, but when you've surrendered the struggle and allowed your mind to settle. The greatest breakthroughs in science, art, business, they rarely come through force. They arrive in moments of peaceful receptivity, when the mind is clear enough to receive rather than create. Perhaps, most surprisingly, when peace governs your financial consciousness, provision multiplies. This seems counterintuitive to the conventional mindset that equates financial growth with hustle, striving, and constant activity. But masters of prosperity understand that anxious energy around money actually repels abundance. The peaceful mind attracts resources because it's aligned with the natural flow of universal supply. Joseph Murphy captured this principle beautifully when he said, "The invisible forces are ever working for the man who is at peace with himself." This profound statement reflects a revolutionary understanding. Peace isn't the absence of storms, but the presence of divine order within them. It's not what happens when challenges disappear. It's what transforms challenges into opportunities for demonstration. Behind the scenes of every miraculous manifestation is a consciousness at peace with itself and with divine law. This peace isn't passive resignation, it's active alignment. It's the decision to stand in the eye of the storm rather than being tossed about by its winds. From that centered place, you can issue commands that redirect the very energy of the storm itself. The journey toward mastery involves developing what I call storm-proof peace, an inner stability that remains unshaken regardless of external appearances. Most people's peace is circumstantial. It comes and goes depending on what's happening around them. But true spiritual authority emerges from peace that transcends circumstance, peace that remains steady even when everything seems to be falling apart. This quality of peace becomes the foundation for effective command. When you say peace, be still, from a consciousness already at peace, you're not trying to create something new. You're extending what already exists within you into the situation you're addressing. You're not begging for peace to come. You're commanding circumstances to align with the peace you embody. The revelation that transformed my relationship with challenges was recognizing that peace isn't the reward for solving problems. It's the power that solves them. It's not what you get when the storm passes. It's what causes the storm to pass. If you've experienced how peace transforms situations in ways that struggle never could, type "peace is power" in the comments. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and reveal what truly separates spiritual beginners from masters. The ability to speak. Peace not just during calm moments, but in the midst of life's fiercest storms. Anyone can maintain spiritual alignment when everything's going well. The real test and the real revelation comes when chaos erupts around you. Think about it. Anyone can speak peace in calm conditions. Anyone can feel connected to divine power when sitting in meditation or walking through a beautiful forest. But true spiritual authority belongs to those who can stand in the center of a crisis, financial collapse, health diagnosis, relationship breakdown, and speak peace, be still, with the same certainty they would in perfect conditions. The universe tests authority through contrast. It's almost as if creation itself is asking, do you still command when the ground beneath you shakes? Do you still speak with certainty when uncertainty surrounds you? Do you still declare divine order when human disorder seems to rule the day? If your answer is yes, not just intellectually, but experientially, the world must still itself around you. This isn't metaphorical, it's metaphysical law. Joseph Murphy understood this principle deeply. He recognized that challenges aren't obstacles to your spiritual journey, they're the journey itself. Each difficulty presents an opportunity to demonstrate mastery rather than react with the old patterns of anger, anxiety, or argument. The difference between these two approaches completely determines the outcome you experience. When circumstances seem to contradict your spiritual understanding, you stand at a critical decision point. You can either abandon your understanding and surrender to circumstance, or you can stand firmly in your understanding and command circumstance. Most people choose the former because it seems more realistic, but masters choose the latter because they understand what's truly real, the invisible law that governs all manifestation. This mindset transformation changes everything about how you approach life's inevitable tests. Rather than dreading challenges or seeing them as evidence that something's gone wrong, you begin to welcome them as opportunities to demonstrate what you've learned. Each problem becomes a canvas for spiritual artistry. Each crisis becomes a platform for divine demonstration. The practice is beautifully simple, though not always easy. When faced with situations that would normally trigger reaction, pause instead. Take that momentary sacred pause that interrupts the automatic pattern. Then, surprisingly, smile. Yes, smile, not because you're denying reality, but because you recognize the opportunity presenting itself. Speak your 7-second command with quiet certainty. Peace, be still, or divine order is established now, or every force is working in my favor. Then rest in the certainty of your command, not the desperate hoping that masquerades as faith, but the genuine knowing that comes from understanding spiritual law. This rest isn't passive, it's powerful, it's you, demonstrating your trust in the invisible mechanics of creation to rearrange circumstances according to your command. If you faced a situation recently that seemed impossible but felt an inner nudge to respond differently, type "ready for the test" in the comments. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and explore what happens when you consistently practice the 7-second command over time. There's a fascinating transformation that occurs, a shift so profound that it changes your entire experience of life. As you master this practice, you'll notice something remarkable. Life becomes increasingly effortless. I don't mean that challenges disappear entirely. I mean that the energy of struggle begins to fade from your experience. You stop swimming against currents. Instead, currents carry you forward. It's like the difference between paddling upstream, exhausting yourself against the flow, and learning to navigate with the current, using its power to propel you toward your destination. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It emerges gradually as you build what I call command momentum. Each time you choose aligned decree over anxious reaction, You're strengthening new neural pathways in your brain and new energetic pathways in your field. Over time, these pathways become your default response rather than your exceptional one. What's fascinating is how others begin to notice this transformation in you before you fully recognize it yourself. They'll wonder how you maintain such calm through chaos. They'll ask what your secret is. They'll observe that you seem to move through difficulties with a grace they can't quite understand. This isn't because you're hiding something from them. It's because your secret isn't something external that could be easily shared. It's an inner shift in how you relate to reality itself. Your true secret lies not outside, but in your words. The same words you once used casually, now used consciously. This revelation changed everything in my own journey when I realized that the vocabulary I had been using without thought was actually designing my future experiences. Every sentence you speak builds your destiny. Every phrase carries the blueprint of your future. This isn't mystical thinking, it's creative mechanics. The journey toward mastery involves developing what Joseph Murphy called word consciousness, a heightened awareness of the creative power in every syllable you utter. You begin to guard your words and shape them intentionally, recognizing that they're not just descriptions but directives to universal intelligence. Think about how casually most people speak about their lives. This always happens to me. I'll never have enough. Why do I always attract the wrong people? These aren't innocent observations. They're powerful commands instructing the universe to continue producing those exact experiences. The transformation begins when you recognize these unconscious commands and deliberately replace them with conscious ones. I remember working with a client who had a habit of saying, "I'm always behind," whenever she felt pressured by deadlines. We worked together to shift this phrase to "everything unfolds in divine timing." The change seemed subtle, almost insignificant, but within weeks, her experience of time completely transformed. Projects that would have stressed her began flowing with surprising ease. Opportunities arrived at precisely the right moment. Her perception of being perpetually behind dissolved, not because her calendar changed, but because her command changed. If you're becoming more aware of how unconsciously you've been using your words as creative tools, type "watching my words now" in the comments. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and explore the specific language patterns that masters of this principle use. Joseph Murphy exemplified confident speech through statements that left no room for doubt or limitation. One of his most powerful declarations was, "I have a wonderful work in a wonderful way. I give wonderful service for wonderful pay." Notice the quality of certainty in these words, not hoping, not wishing, not even affirming, but stating as established fact. This pattern of speech creates a vibrational blueprint that the universe recognizes and responds to. When you examine the language of those who consistently demonstrate mastery in any area, health, relationships, finances, creative expression, you'll notice they all share this quality of unshakable certainty. They don't speak about what might happen or what they hope will occur. They speak as if their desired reality is already established fact. The journey toward transformation involves adopting this same pattern in your daily speech. Speak with certainty, not just during special moments of spiritual practice, but throughout your ordinary conversations. Use this approach consistently, during good times to multiply them, and during challenges to stabilize them. When things are going well, declare, "My good increases daily in every dimension of my life." When facing difficulties, state with equal conviction, "This challenge is revealing greater strength and wisdom within me." What's fascinating about this practice is how it begins to reveal the true nature of all problems. The 7-second command doesn't just reverse external situations, it rewires your internal state. And here's the revelation that changed everything in my understanding. Storms were never truly outside, but within. The chaos you perceive in circumstances is always a reflection of chaos in consciousness. The conflicts you experience in relationships mirror conflicts in your own thinking. The limitations you encounter in finances reflect limitations in your belief system. Once you recognize this profound truth, your approach to challenges completely transforms. Instead of frantically trying to change people and circumstances, you focus on commanding peace within your own consciousness. You realize that once inner waves calm, the outer world naturally follows suit. This isn't magical thinking, it's a precise description of how consciousness creates experience. Think about how differently you move through life when you understand this principle. Someone who believes storms are purely external exhausts themselves fighting against people and conditions. But someone who recognizes storms as internal focuses their energy on speaking peace to their own consciousness. First, knowing that external harmony must follow by law. The decision to shift from external battle to internal command represents the most significant pivot point in spiritual development. It's the moment when you stop being a victim of circumstances and step into your authority as a co-creator with divine intelligence. Every challenge becomes not an obstacle, but an invitation to demonstrate this principle at deeper levels. If this revelation is shifting how you view the challenges in your life, right now, type "the storm is within" in the comments. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic and explore what it truly means to walk in divine authority. As you continue this journey of transformation, remember that in every moment you face a fundamental choice: to command rather than react, to declare instead of doubt, and to align instead of chase. This decision point appears countless times throughout your day, offering you the opportunity to step into spiritual mastery with each choice you make. Think about what it means to carry the same creative breath that spoke galaxies into existence. This isn't poetic metaphor, it's spiritual revelation. The same divine intelligence that orchestrates cosmic events flows through your consciousness, waiting to be directed through your words. Every declaration you make vibrates through eternity, setting in motion forces that transcend your current understanding. The mindset shift that revolutionizes your experience comes when you truly grasp your relationship with universal forces. Most people position themselves in opposition to life, constantly battling against circumstances they don't want. But masters of this principle recognize themselves as expressions of the very power they once fought against. They don't see the universe as something to overcome. They see it as an extension of their own consciousness. This understanding transforms how you navigate challenges. Instead of reacting to problems with anxiety, you command solutions with certainty. Instead of doubting your path when obstacles appear, you declare clarity with conviction. Instead of chasing after experiences you desire, you align with their essence and allow them to flow to you naturally. Behind the scenes of every spiritual demonstration is this profound revelation. You are not separate from the power that creates worlds. Your words carry divine authority, not because you've earned it through spiritual practice, but because it's your inherent nature. The journey isn't about becoming something you're not. It's about revealing what you've always been. Joseph Murphy captured this beautifully when he taught that faith knows it has already received and acts accordingly. This statement reveals the secret of walking in divine authority. You don't command circumstances from a place of lack, hoping they'll change. You command from a consciousness that recognizes the fulfillment as already accomplished in spiritual reality, simply waiting to manifest in physical form. The universe functions not as your opponent, but as your echo, faithfully mirroring the rhythm of your words back to you as experience. This isn't punishment or reward, it's creative law operating with mathematical precision. When you declare lack, the universe echoes lack. When you declare abundance, the universe echoes abundance. When you speak with certainty, the universe responds with certainty. The decision to speak purposefully rather than casually transforms your relationship with reality itself. You begin to recognize that the world isn't happening to you, it's responding to you. This revelation shifts your entire life from reaction to creation, from constantly addressing unwanted circumstances to consciously generating desired experiences through aligned command. If you're ready to claim your divine authority and transform your relationship with universal forces, type "I am the commander" in the comments. As we come to the end of our exploration into this powerful principle, I want you to consider something. What if the very video you're watching right now wasn't just information, but an activation? What if these words we've shared together have already begun shifting something in your consciousness, preparing you to speak with new authority into your circumstances? The 7-second command isn't just a technique to try. It's a revelation about who you truly are, a divine commander whose words shape reality. And just as Joseph Murphy discovered this principle decades ago, you're rediscovering it today at exactly the right moment in your journey. If this message resonated with you, if you felt something awaken as we explored these principles together, I'd love for you to write "Command Activated" in the comments below. Let me know that you received this activation and are ready to step into this new authority. And if you found value in today's exploration, that gentle tap on the like button is more than just a gesture. It's you participating in spreading this message to others who need to hear it right now. It's your way of saying, this truth deserves to be shared. This journey we're on together is just beginning. I create these videos as spiritual activations, not just information. If you haven't yet joined our community, hit subscribe to continue walking this path of discovery and transformation with us. Right next to this video, you'll find another exploration that builds perfectly on what we've discussed today, the hidden power that amplifies your 7-second command. Click there now, and let's continue unveiling these spiritual technologies together, one revelation at a time.